Welcome to the second part of the sponsored lightning talks. I'm Dan, wearing a. Is it okay?
Yeah, it's okay.
I'm Dan. Joachim was downstairs presenting, so he probably didn't find this room yet. So yeah, this is me with a new hat on, working at Clyso. This talk is about advancing infrastructure with Ceph technology. So why is Clyso hearting Ceph so much? So Ceph is more relevant than ever in this IT environment. It has proven scalability with optimal TCO. We know that with Crush and the rest of Ceph, it's like infinitely flexible. You can have regions, data centers, a hybrid cloud, and it's fitting into your ecosystem. This is why a lot of us pick it, right? It does block objects and file and it handles containers, so you can integrate it with your stack. And why I like Ceph since the beginning is the rock solid reliable Rados. And of course, open source, so no vendor lock-in. You can switch between all of your friendly Ceph vendors if you decide to. So with all that in mind, like where do we want to focus? When I came to join Clyso, I was thinking like, what do we want to focus on to make Ceph better? Clearly, I think everyone realizes that we need to focus on usability. Like, why do we still talk about Ceph being so difficult to use? A lot of the effort so far in making Ceph more usable has been focused on installing Ceph more easily, but that's like, how often do you install a Ceph cluster? Not very often. I think it's much more important to make all of the so-called day two operations, but I don't like that term because it's like, it's the whole life cycle of Ceph should be much easier. Focus on performance. I'm particularly interested in HPC with my background, and every time that Ceph, HPC admins or sysadmins, they want to use Ceph. Ceph is so attractive. They see our community, see a lot of people succeeding with it, but they install it and it just doesn't perform like the typical HPC file systems. And then also, there's this something that, with a new hat on, I've realized that, Ceph's not a whole package. Ceph needs to be more of a, right now it's just a building block. It's just a component. It's a component of your stack, but you really need something that can, if you want to compete with the other SDS vendors or the appliance vendors in the storage space, you need something that's much more like a complete product. And what's missing for that? Okay, so that's the kind of things that I'm interested in these days. Introduction to Clyso company. So this is a company that's been around since 2010, doing lots of different type of development and like sort of like custom solution development for different users in public cloud, private cloud, also multi-cloud, developing solutions on bare metal for basically whole cloud infrastructures, and also some expertise in containerized and Kubernetes stacks. Also, another part of the company is working a lot in disaster recovery DR solutions like storage, but also backup solutions at a scale that I didn't even understand was out there, but it's kind of quite impressive. The way that the company works, okay, now we start to look into doing Ceph support, let's say. One of the kind of like ideas is proactive support, okay? And it's also the way that I've always operated Ceph. You should never have a health warn. You should never be like, there should never be disaster. It should be caught. You should be catching configuration errors or performance problems before they become a real problem. And blah, 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 blah. Company is expanding out to North America, which is why now I'm relevant there. The company is supporting open source since a long time. It's now, as of this year, it's one of the premier Ceph Foundation members. Also hosting events and hopefully hosting another event this fall in Germany. Also, we're involved in organizing the Vancouver Ceph Day, which is coming up. Yep. Mark Nelson, the Ceph performance lead, is now working with the company as well. So we have quite some core talent in working with us. And they're also working a lot, like I mentioned, this multi-cloud system. This is a kind of system for balancing workloads between your private cloud and online. I'll like leave this slide up enough so that when you rewatch on YouTube, you can zoom in and see anything, just to show that there's some track record doing some large scale projects. Let's say 3,000 OSD clusters, maybe 180 petabytes backup system, things like this. Okay, lots of big scale stuff. Now this is the kind of offering that the company is we want to do. Okay, we want to offer two types of support, basically like a low-cost essential support, okay, with SLAs, which are, simpler. Enterprise support if you have some real online critical business dependencies on Ceph, enterprise support. But then also we want to leverage the knowledge, do some consulting and also development. So performance debugging, developing scalable architectures, anything else you can imagine, any needs you have for Ceph, this is what we can do. And we're offering special offers, discounts for research, academia, and nonprofit startups. So where where money's not the bottom line, but more altruistic things are involved, this is what we want to help the most. And something else that we want to do is we want to make a Ceph product, actually. So as of today, we're supporting Ceph upstream. Starting soon, we'll make a kind of curated version of Ceph. I think if you're an experienced Ceph user, you know that if you just use Ceph upstream, this is a recipe for disaster. So we want to kind of like pass that knowledge on of knowing when releases are stabilizing, which backports are needed, just like the minimal set of backports to get a really viable version of Ceph. We're going to be supporting that sort of later this year, and that's heading towards something that we call Clyso Enterprise Storage, okay, which will be like a highly tuned version of Ceph and including some components that we think will really make a big difference. So we have a custom MGR module, which will enable better monitoring and proactive support. So if you don't have an air-gapped cluster, we can monitor it online. And also something that we're calling codename Clyso Copilot is some kind of, okay, I hate this buzzwords, but like AI ops type of stuff. We want to, this is a module they're going to put, it's like a sidecar that will run beside Ceph and help you configure and tune and operate Ceph so that you don't need to know all of the like difficult commands related to all this PG stuff and all of pool creation, compression, all of the flags, millions of configurables. This will help you out there. So that's going to come later this year. And if you want to actually track what we're doing, you can go on ces.clyso.com and you can register now. And when it's available, you'll get access to a beta version. We're going to make a chat system available so you can chat with us and discuss this. There'll be a newsletter, and there's some kind of welcome package that'll be available, maybe some stickers or maybe a T-shirt, we'll see. But please sign up there if you want to keep track of what we're working on. So that's it. How to get in touch? You can email us. The emails are on the thing there. Joachim, Dan, or Benedict. And of course, just visit the website. But I'll warn you that you've all probably received a lanyard which has the kind of like retro logo of the company. The company's rebranding now. This is kind of like a new slide deck. There's a new logo on this T-shirt here, but so the website's a little bit outdated right now, but it's in the works. Yeah, that's it. Thank you very much. Any questions?
Did you start early? Sorry. Did you start early because I thought you would start at 12:25 and now it's only 12:28 and you're already done?
Like a bolt of lightning.
Okay.
Good question. I like the question. I'm sorry. I don't know. Yes?
I'm just curious about your comment about getting Ceph upstream releases as a recipe for disaster. By upstream, do you mean the GA releases or putting daily builds?
I mean, the first one. Yes. Yes. Oh, yes. I mean, as a let's say you can be relatively safe by waiting at least a month after they become available, okay? Just to see. Yeah, okay? Because, well, Pacific hasn't been too bad, although there is a regression in the latest 16 to 11, okay? 16 hasn't been as bad as Nautilus was quite nasty, and some regressions coming out that, I mean, this very extensive testing of the upstream releases, but it's just never enough. And it's very common that there's bad regressions that impact availability of clusters in production. And some users have gotten bitten quite hard with this. Yeah.
Will you be throwing in some additional testing and then sort of put your quality
Absolutely.
standard on that one?
Absolutely. Yeah. It's what I did in my previous life, at my previous organization, and it's what we'll continue to do. Yes. Yep.
Yeah,
Yes.
following the same question, and also maybe it's a question for you. So if we rely on the packaging of document distribution, should we expect that this job is actually part of releasing a new version of this packaging?
I don't.
If you rely on Ubuntu, for instance, to provide you the Ceph package,
Yeah.
personally, I would expect that they try that hard enough so that when they bring the new version to the community, we can rely on that and do work for most use cases.
Me too.
I mean, that is the case. So we typically, about a month behind upstream, and that's for reasons. There has been a bunch of stuff that's come and bitten people really hard. So we realise that, and when we take something from upstream, we test, we do our own validation. Do we catch everything? Absolutely not. Like, no one's going to ever catch everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a case of taking it, testing as best we can, on top of what's already been done upstream. So yeah, when you rely on one of the distros, that's the experience you should have.
Yeah. By upstream, I mean downloads.ceph.com.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just wanted to mention that the registration does not work on the website.
There's an additional space. You have to also delete the space.
This is not my department.
Where is the space? Where's the space?
And you need to
Are you serious?
Space.
Please.
And the other question was.
Thank you for the comment. I'll let the team know.
I didn't see the talk. Will you provide some graphical UI so starters get easy to Ceph?
Yeah, I mean
New
that.
product or?
At the moment, it's the normal dashboard. Your feedback is welcome. I was already talking to the dashboard developers yesterday about skins. There's no, I mean, you can edit the CSS file. That's the only support right now. Already I asked a simple question and everyone's like, yes, it's essential in our business that we can at least change the logo in the dashboard. Some companies, this is an essential thing, but this is a missing feature. Okay. If you need that feature, we can talk. Yeah.
Okay, so you
Yes.
rely on the dashboard and.
So, I mean, I'm really new in this company. I know that Clyso has their own, like this proactive monitoring, as it's called. They have their own dashboards for catching issues in the customer clusters. Okay, so yeah, some kind of mix between making that available to the customers as well. Yeah, this is probably expected. I would say, yeah. But you know, the spirit of the whole thing is open source. It's always to make upstream stuff better always. I have a long wish list of things that I want in the included dashboards of Ceph, which I think are essential that aren't there yet. Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah, Dan, so what's the safest version of upstream Ceph that you would deploy?
Quincy is probably okay by now, but I think 16.2.9 is currently good. 2.9 or 2.10. I mean, there's a couple of 10 was a hot fix, I think. 11's got a regression, so wait for .12 if you're still on Pacific. Yeah, you can't run Ceph volume commands on 16.2.11. Yeah, but Quincy, there haven't been any major issues in Quincy, so it looks okay. But you know, the long-beard Ceph admins would never upgrade to a new major release until .5, .6, .7, somewhere around there. Then it starts to prove itself. Yeah.
There was a major issue with Quincy in 17.2.4. Managers wouldn't start anymore.
Oh yeah. What?
So upgrading from .3 to .4 would crash, but upgrading from .3 to .5 was no problem.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
It was
Okay.
fixed within 24 hours or so, but
Yeah, the team is good now at, like, when, I think it took 2 users mentioning the problem with Ceph volume in the Pacific release. So it took around a week and a half, and then it was, okay, needs to be a priority on a hotfix. So the team is fast at building hotfixes now, yeah. But still, I mean, there's a bottleneck there's only one release manager for upstream Ceph. So he's focusing on one release at a time. This is the real problem. If you have a critical dependency on upstream, then you should lag behind a little bit. Yeah. Okay? Thanks very much.